Hello, hello, hello. Did you know that the second Friday in January, which is when I'm recording this, is known as Quitter's Day, as it's the day that most people give up on their New Year's resolutions? If you've quit by now, you are not alone. Research suggests that about 80% of New Year's resolutions fail. Quitter's Day actually started from research that a fitness company did based on millions and millions of users, and they found that people are most likely to abandon their New Year's resolutions on this day. The research says some of those reasons are their motivation declines, they return back to their routine after the holidays, work, school, all of those kinds of things. Weather challenges, which I get because it's like -4 here today, makes it hard to get out. It's dark at like 4 o'clock. Then the fourth reason is financial strain. So post-holiday bills start coming in around this time. And then many people just set unrealistic goals. And that is why today we're going to talk about a topic that can help you make your changes stick, especially when it comes to your money goals. And you can avoid becoming part of the statistics. Hi, I'm Stephanie, her money coach, and welcome back. If you're new with us, we're thrilled to have you. Let's just jump in. Have you ever noticed how we're all jazzed up and fantastic, making big promises to ourselves, let's say at New Year's? And then you know the drill. I'm going to start eating better. I'm finally going to save money. I'm going to hit the gym every day. And we burst out of the gate like a racehorse, only to stumble, some say, by the 17th of January or the second Friday of January. One thing I learned, it caught me off guard because, as you know, if you listen to this show, I'm very into positive thinking. I truly believe positive thinking can change your world and can change your money situation. But what I'm about to share today goes beyond positive thinking. In a previous show, I talked about stop setting money goals that are wrong, and I'll link to that in the show notes. In that, we talked about mistakes to avoid. And I talked about how your why is so important and how important it is to align your goals with your values and the things that are most important to you in life. But what I didn't touch on as much is specifically how. What is the real strategy that you can use? Steps one, two, three, four, five to make your goals a reality and make you stick to them. And so that's where WOOP comes in. WOOP. In the previous episode, I talked a lot about SMART goals, which are specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and targeted. SMART goals are a classic that still delivers, but WOOP takes it kind of beyond. It's kind of like an add on to the SMART goals. So, what I'm going to share, not about not being positive. It's how to take that positive thinking and kind of supercharge it. Whoop kind of takes the wishful thinking and backs it up into actual results. And it's actually backed by 20 plus years of hardcore research by someone named Dr. Gabrielle Oettingen. I'm probably not saying the name correctly. If we break Whoop down further, it'll make more sense. So WOOP is W, which is for your wish, your big dream, your goal. Think of it as your destination, where you want to go, what you want to be. It's something that actually is a smart goal that can be measurable. So instead of it being, I wish that I was rich, you would have to say something specific like, I will save $5,000 in 6 months. That's how specific it needs to be. And we did talk a lot about that in that previous episode. And then the first O is for outcome. This is how you want to feel. I've also talked a lot about how our emotions drive our actions, which drive our results. And our thoughts are what drive our emotions. If you think about outcomes, it's not just about seeing it, believing it. You've got to feel it to the core because those emotions are what is going to drive you to take the actions that you need to take. And a lot of us stop here. We're just imagining the goal or the wish or the dream, but we don't feel it to our bones. That's the first O. The second O is obstacle. And this is where I think I fell short in the last time we talked about this, because this part is so important. Because as you're going along the process of chasing your goals, you're gonna have obstacles, which is the second O in WOOP. And this is where the positive thinking kind of can go awry because we're so focused on being positive that we're not thinking about the obstacles, which will come into our way. They just will. That's how it is. And then we drop the ball. Most often, the obstacle that we're talking about is ourselves putting in internal roadblocks to what we say we want. And when we do this, we're blaming something else. We're blaming the economy that we can't save money. We're blaming our boss that we don't earn enough. And in reality, when we can take accountability for our challenges, then we have the power to overcome them. And so looking at what the obstacles are is really important. That's where the P comes in and WOOP, which is the plan. The plan is knowing your obstacle and then having an if then approach to whatever scenario might come up. Okay, so let's take an example to help us make this real. Let's say you want to have $5,000 in an emergency fund by June 1st. Now that's specific. It's not wishy washy. It's not, we're just going to save money. It's a certain amount by a certain time. And if that's our wish, the W, some outcomes, remember, outcomes are how we feel. I might be feeling more secure. Maybe I think I'm going to sleep like a baby because I know I have a safety net if something goes wrong. Maybe I'm walking taller and I'm feeling confident because I finally feel in control. And maybe when an unexpected bill comes, like a car repair, I'm I'm fine. It doesn't affect me because I know I've got the money in an emergency fund. And maybe I'm looking at my checking account and I actually feel proud. And you really need to feel these emotions. Then, once we've really thought about the outcomes of how we're going to feel, let's talk about those obstacles. Think long and hard about what really might stop you from saving $5,000 by June. So I could get tempted by an expensive purchase and cave in and buy that new purse that I really want. No, it's going to be really busy next couple months for me. And it's going to be easy for me to spend a lot of money eating out. And I'm just too scared to really look at my spending. I'm too scared of what that might look like. And if you notice, each of these obstacles are internal to me. Therefore, they're things that I can control. So that's what makes the beauty of this WOOP plan, because plan is next. And that's where we really make the magic happen because we create if then plan. So if I feel the urge to stress shop and go buy that purse that I want, then I'm going to check my savings goal tracker first and see if I'm where I need to be. That's how this if then works. If it's Sunday and I know it's going to be a really busy week and I'm going to be tempted to just order out, go out to eat to save time, I'm going to prep my meals on Sunday for the entire week so I'm not tempted to spend out. If I spend anything, I will log it immediately in my budget app. So can you kind of see how this works? But why does it work? There's actual science behind it. Like with everything we talk about, our brains have all the answers. And I've talked about this many, many times. Our brains are like a GPS. It needs the destination and it needs to be aware of the potential roadblocks. That's why WOOP creates this perfect tension between your dreams or the destination and the reality, which is what's going to come up along the way. It's like stretching a rubber band when your brain sees both and you want to go, and that's what's in the way. It naturally wants to close that gap. And those if then sentences that you work through, they actually become automatic responses. You're programming your brain to know that these obstacles might happen, but you've already figured out what you're going to do when they do. Let's try this yourself. Grab a piece of paper and a pen if you can, and let's kind of play around with this a little bit. So, writing it down, I've talked about this a million times. Writing things down, getting it out of your head onto paper is helpful for anything you're working on. So, close your eyes for a minute. And if you want to turn this off and try later, or maybe come back to it, that's fine as well. I'm just going to talk us through it and then you can actually do it. But if you want to get yourself in a calm, relaxed kind of mode, so that's why you want to close your eyes when you're going to try this exercise, and you want to just take some deep breaths because again, you're just trying to slow down your brain and think of one wish, one dream, one goal that is meaningful to you. It can be about money or not money, but one goal. In the case we've been using, it's to save $5,000 in 6 months. So write down a goal that is very specific, a very specific goal with a very specific time. And then feel what that outcome would feel like. Let's say it's a new year, you want a new job. I want a new job. I want to be in a new job with making more money, X more money by May, let's say. When I am in that new job, so in your future self, when you actually have met that goal and you're making more money, I feel proud, I feel confident, I feel grateful, and really feel those things. That's the outcome, how you're going to feel about the outcome. And then if you kind of take another step back and think, okay, this new job, I'm going to make more money, I'm going to feel all those things. What could get in the way? So, things that might get in the way, and you're writing these down, things that might get in the way are not enough time to look for a job. You don't know how to get started looking for a new job. You don't have your resume ready. Like whatever the list is, write them all down. And then you can write a line in the middle of your page. And for each of your obstacles, create the if then plan. So if not having a resume is an obstacle, then you'll spend 2 hours next Saturday creating a resume. So if you're rolling your eyes right now thinking, this is just too simple and it's 4 baby steps, how does this magically work? Let's kind of walk through some of these objections you might be saying and talk about it more. So if you're thinking, this just sounds too simple, how could it actually work? I am going to tell you it is simple, but it's not easy. Just like any goal we always want for ourselves, whether it's losing weight, getting fit, earning more, spending less, you can go on the internet, you can talk to AI and ask it to tell you the 10 steps to do all of those things. Millions of people have done all of those things over and over again. So there's steps and there's plans. It's simple, but it's not easy. It's not easy because you have to do the work. It's not easy because even though you have this dream, this wish, there are obstacles that will come. So it's simple in the fact that it it can be done, but it's not easy to actually do it. That's why 80% of people quit before Quitter's Day in the second week in January in their New Year's resolution. Not because it's not simple, but because it's hard. It's hard. It's especially hard if you don't get your feelings on the outcomes and become aware of your obstacles so that you can make a plan. That's why WOOP really works well. Okay. You might also be thinking, I have tried everything before. Why would this be different? I have said every New Year's that I'm going to save X amount of money and I just don't do it. But that's why this WOOP style actually is helpful because it's not just the positivity stuff. It's actually embracing the negative by opening your eyes to your doubts and fears and obstacles and becoming aware of them instead of running from them. I've also heard people say, I just don't have time for another complicated system in my life. But that is why this 4 step WOOP is so easy. It literally takes 10 minutes. It's not hours of journaling. not lengthy question answering. It's just 4 steps. Now, if this sounds too kind of woo woo for you, talking about emotions and feelings, then I need you to know that this is backed by research, not just some research, decades of research and hard data. It's not about just positive thinking and vibes. It's about practical psychology, how our brain works, programming it with behavioral science. You might think you know what's holding you back. But if you really knew, wouldn't you have already be doing it? Wouldn't you be getting to your goals? Wouldn't you be not quitting on Quitter's Day? Another thing I hear a lot when people are talking to me about their money goals is my problem is lack of time and resources. It's not about knowing certain ways to do things. It's about I just don't have time or I just don't have what I need to be able to do that. The reason why this system works is because you are in control. You're in control of what you can do instead of focusing on what you can't. That's how those if then plans work. Or maybe you think it seems negative to focus on obstacles. But when we ignore obstacles, then we are not acknowledging them. It's not that they're negative, they're just realistic. They're just going to happen. That's how the world works. It's not rosy going from here to there. There's roadblocks. Okay, so I've harped on this WOOP enough, and I just think you should try it. To me, it was something different by taking kind of the dreaming and the feeling and really thinking about what could go wrong and then planning for it. That was the part that I haven't thought through a lot. And so that's the part that I really, really like. And I love when science proves these kinds of methods. But there are a ton of other methods. Like I said, there's a million out there. And I actually did ask AI, what are all the different kind of goal setting methods? So I kind of want to touch on some of those. I like this WOOP, but I also feel that if you have different tools for different times, that can be helpful too. Maybe this WOOP doesn't resonate with you, but you do have goals and dreams and you do want to make them. So let's just kind of talk high level about some of these other options and you could maybe dig deeper. Or what I like is kind of taking pieces and parts. Like I do love SMART goals. And if you add WOOP onto them, so you have your SMART, measurable, achievable, realistic, and then you add in this how I'm going to feel and the obstacles and the plan, then that kind of combines the best of both worlds. So some other goal setting techniques that the internet or AI had is this one I've not heard of. It's called the GROW model. Apparently, a lot of executive business coaches use this, which is goal, what do you want? Reality, where are you now? Options, what could you do? And will, what will you do? And this kind of forces you to explore multiple pathways to success. Instead of fixating on one solution, this has your brain kind of think about different options. So that's kind of what makes this grow different is you're kind of exploring all the different ways you might get to this goal that you want. So if that's of interest, you could dig in more of this. The other one of the other methods I came across is Kaizen method, which I am very familiar with. It's a Japanese art that is basically focused on continuous improvement. So instead of like massive changes, you're focused on tiny 1% improvements every day. And with compound interest, as they speak, you get to your goals because you're moving the needle 1%. And who can't move the needle 1%, right? If you wanted to save money and you're saving whatever 1% is to you, let's say $10 a week, that is something. And over time, that will grow and be a lot. And it can really help people because they're breaking down their goals in these little tiny steps that seem doable. One of the one of the statistics of Quitter's Day is that people's goals were just not realistic. They were way too far out there. And by week 2, people are like, I am never going to do this. And so they stop. If you use this Kaizen method and you're going tiny, 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 that is doable. If you make it so doable that it's like laughable, then you could definitely overcome this resistance to it being too big and too overwhelming. Also, and I've talked about this a lot, there is real positivity with something called building momentum. And when you can do tiny little wins, you're proving to yourself that you can make changes, that you can make momentum. And you're sticking to it because it's so easy, it's laughable. So your brain isn't fighting you. Remember, your brain does not like change no matter what. Your brain wants you to keep doing what you're doing. So if you want to save money, your brain is going to tell you you need to buy, you need to spend. That's just how our brain works. And if your goal is too big, your brain is in overdrive with resistance. So that's where Kazon method might help. Another goal method that I came across was hard goals. Heartfelt, animated, required, and difficult. And the heartfelt is bringing the emotion in. The animated is about having a vivid visualization that's kind of different or out there because it's different. That will kind of trigger certain things in your brain. The required part is somehow generating a sense of urgency around it. And the difficult is pushing yourself beyond your comfort zone. The part of this philosophy that it's like WOOP is bringing in that emotional component into logical planning. Again, these other methods are kind of just solidifying to me the different pieces of WOOP. The other thing I ran into when I was looking this up is something that I use all the time, which is not necessarily a goal oriented method, but a way to keep your good habits is to stack them. So instead of just creating a new habit, you piggyback on existing ones. So let's say you wanted to drink a full glass of water every single morning. You might attach that to something that you already do, like you already brush your teeth every morning. So next to your toothbrush might be a glass, and it will remind you that when you brush your teeth, you're also going to drink the full glass of water. So it's basically after I do whatever current habit, I'm going to add whatever new habit and I'm going to stack them up. Try it. It works beautifully. So there you have it, friends. I gave you a lot of options for goal setting strategies. Again, if you want to go back to the previous show where I talk about why goals are important, I talk about mistakes that people are making with goals, and I talk a lot about aligning your goals with what's most important to you in life, which is very important. These are just different strategies or frameworks to make them happen. And I gave you a lot. You could always go, if one resonated more to you than WOOP, then you could go look it up and find out exactly how to do it. I liked WOOP because I feel like it takes a lot of components from all of them and makes it simple and easy, 4 steps. Anyone can do it. I said simple and easy, but we know it's simple, but not always easy. So when we put in systems, that's how we make these things easier. The key isn't finding the perfect system. It's finding the right combination that works for you right now. But I will tell you, habit stacking, everyone can use simple way to make progress on your goals. If this episode helped you, please share it. Please subscribe, leave a rating and review. It helps get the word out so we can help others in a money setback find peace and momentum. Don't forget to visit hermoneycoach.com and subscribe to my free weekly newsletter for more tips. And I would love to hear your thoughts on goal setting. So comment below if you have great ways to set New Year's money goals so that none of us quit on Quitter's Day, then I would love to hear from you. See you next time. And until then, remember, you have the power to change your financial future, and I'm cheering you on every step of the way.